Okay, hi guys. So it's day 9 of the video challenge, and day 9 is about places that you have traveled and that you want to travel. And this one I can probably actually make a pretty good video for because I've been a couple places. Um, yeah. Okay, so probably my favorite place that I ever went was Japan. And I went to Japan the summer before my senior year of high school, and I went with People to People student ambassadors. If you've heard of them, you probably got packets from them like when you were in high school. The trip was really expensive, um, but I actually really did do a lot of fundraising for that trip, and it was 2 weeks in Japan, and we went to Tokyo, and we went to Nagoya, and we went to Hiroshima, and we went a couple other places that I don't remember. We climbed out Mount Fuji, which was really awesome, and we picked green tea leaves, and we saw a bunch of really beautiful temples and a bunch of wildlife and the cities, and it was a really interesting experience for me, and it was just like a really good time, and I had a blast. Okay, so another one of my favorite, I guess, trips that I went on was when I went to Spain, and I went there in 10th grade, and I think I went there for 10 days. And the trip was actually, it was through a program, but it was with people from my high school. So it was a bunch of other people, students from my high school, and then our Spanish teacher, Senora. Well, her name was Senora Piccolo, but we called her Senora, and I guess looking back, that was kind of stupid, but I don't know. Um, and the trip was basically, we spent 5 days with Senora, just walking around town. We were in Madrid, so we did a bunch of stuff in that, and we went to Segovia, and then the next 5 days or 6 days were spent with a family, and my family was really cute. I had a younger brother named Luis and an older sister named Marina, and the mom's name was Blanca, and she was pretty beautiful and nice. And it was interesting because they actually were her mom, like the mom was going through going through the divorce with her husband, but then we used to see like their dad, her ex-husband, walking around town. It was just really funny. And it was a really weird trip because I was actually getting pretty good at Spanish, and like I was having a great time, but then the last day that I was with my family, someone at Luis's school actually had committed suicide, and it was just this really weird whole thing. And it was really scary because I was in the school, and I think I was like going to get water or something. I don't know. I was like away from Luis, and Luis had been like taking me around like everywhere. He was like, it was like we were dating because he would like never let me go anywhere without him. And I was out, and then something happened, and then a bunch of the kids were like running around school, and a bunch of stuff was happening, and um, I was like separated from him, and I couldn't find him, and then all these teachers saw me, and obviously like there was no other black people around, so I was just walking around like lost and confused, and people kept trying to talk to me, and people, I remember this one teacher was like trying to ask me if I was hurt, but I couldn't understand. I didn't know how to express like, no, I'm not hurt, like I'm looking for someone. I don't know. I was just like really scared in that moment, and I don't know, it was really interesting. It was a really great trip. I had a great time except for that one part that was pretty bad. But I mean, I think I didn't feel too personally affected by it because I didn't know the person, and Luis didn't know the person either. So I don't know. And I fell in love, like on that trip, I fell in love with uh, Spanish, no, bocadillas with Spanish tortilla española. Yeah, my god, those are so good. I used to eat those like every day, and like the mom used to make fun of me because I was always ask her for €1 every morning so I could get one of those at lunch. It was just so, I don't know, it was crazy because like they really got to school so early, and they just go home and take a nap. Like they really like siesta. That's for real. Like they don't play around. Like they get out of school and they go home and take a nap. Like me and Luis used to go home from school and just watch TV and just like fall asleep for 2 hours in the middle of the afternoon. It was so crazy, and the food was really good, and they were really nice, and I kind of miss it. And I feel like if anywhere I ever went back, I would probably go back there because the people were really nice, and I had like a really great time, and I'd like to go there now that I'm a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and can handle myself in a lot of more different type of situations that I probably couldn't have back then, at least with my level of Spanish. Okay, so another place that I went that was a pretty fun trip, I guess, for me was when I went to Mexico. And I went to Mexico the summer before my freshman year of high school, and I went there actually with not even my church, but this other church that kind of was like related to mine, I guess. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but it was because I just remember because me and my brother were like the scholarship kids on the trip, and everyone else was like, it was like this really nice church. Everyone was like really well off, and me and my brother had to like raise all the money and like do all these stupid fundraisers and all this type of stuff, and so people were helping us out, and we were just like the scholarship kids on the trip, and everyone else was really rich, and I just remember that so clearly. But it was a lot of fun for me um, because I spoke Spanish, well, a little bit of Spanish. I got out of doing most of like the hard physical labor. Well, obviously I'm tiny, but I got out of most of like the really hard physical labor, and I could spend most of my time in like the vacation Bible school that we were doing, because there was two little sections, and one like half the people were doing like digging like trenches and cleaning and doing like they were trying to build a new place to have like a new youth center, so doing that stuff. And then the other half was doing vacation Bible school, but because and everyone was supposed to switch off every day, but because I spoke Spanish, I got to spend most of my time in the vacation Bible school with the little kids and not have to go outside and work as much, which was lovely for me. um it seems like a really long ago, but I guess it wasn't. I don't know. I mean, I had a really fun time. I didn't have anything bad happen to me, but I just thought it was interesting because we were doing like mission work, but then we were in the city called Tecate, which is, if you drink beer, there's like a Mexican beer called Tecate, and that's where like one of the bottling plants is. So I just thought it was really funny. Um, I don't know. It was interesting. It was really cool. I don't think I would go back there necessarily. I might go back to Mexico, but not anytime soon. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I had a good time, but it was so long ago. I just remember when I got back, my mom was so scared that we had brought cockroaches back with us. So she made us, it was so embarrassing. She made us go in the backyard and like wring out all of our clothes and everything, like take everything out of the bags and wring everything out. Because one time when my brother was in his little dorm or whatever, the little room that they had him in, like he found a cockroach in one of his shoes when he was putting his shoe on. And my mom was so scared that she made us wring out all of our clothes everywhere out in the backyard. It was so, oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. But I don't know. I didn't have any cockroaches. I don't even remember really seeing any cockroaches, but maybe I was just having a selective sight because that would have just grossed me out. I don't know. Okay, so another place that I went pretty recently was actually New Orleans, and I went there over Christmas break. I didn't spend that much time there because it was okay. So I went with this thing called the Women's Retreat, which is when all the women who are either born in or married into my mother's family all get together and we go somewhere on a trip. Last year we went to Atlantic City. It wasn't that fun for me or my little sister because I wasn't 21 yet and she wasn't even 18, so we couldn't really do nothing. But this year I was 21 and my little sister chose not to go, which, you know, it's fine, it's her choice. And so everyone could drink and it was a blast. It was so fun. Like, I want to go there for Mardi Gras because it was so fun. I just couldn't believe, like, we were just drinking in the middle of the street. It was so crazy. Like, I got like a couple different souvenir cups and with the big shots, and I was just drinking it. Like, I was drinking them boys all day, and then you can just go get a refill. Like, it is so crazy. Like, people could just drink in the middle of the day. People would just drink all day long in the middle of the street. Like, I don't know. Or maybe I just wasn't used to that type of thing, but it was just so crazy. And so obviously I was having a good time. And it was pretty nice because our hotel was pretty close to the French Quarter, so we just walked everywhere. So it didn't like we didn't have to worry about like driving. So it was just everyone was just pretty much drinking the whole weekend. But it was really cool because one of the nights we went on this like ghost tour, this little ghost legend tour, and it was really scary. Like, we walked around the French Quarter and he was telling us about all this type of like all these things that had happened, all these buildings, and I don't know, it was really interesting. And I'm trying to think, what did we do? I don't know. We just did a bunch of drinking, to be honest. But the tour was really interesting, and the French Quarter was really fun. And I don't know, it was just always things happening, and I just couldn't believe how warm it was and nice. And we went swimming in the pool, and I don't know. When I got back to Michigan, it was snow on the ground, so I was like pretty unhappy about it. So I don't know. I had a really great time, and I really want to go back for Mardi Gras. Like, that's my life goal right now. Okay, so probably like my favorite place to go visit and travel is like the DMV area, but really specifically Washington D.C. and Richmond, Virginia. I don't really do Maryland that much because I really haven't been there too often, but I have been to Washington D.C. a bunch of times. I went there one time. I went there for my freshman year alternative spring break trip, which was dealing with hunger and homelessness. And we went there and we worked in a soup kitchen in Virginia, and we spent like our free time whatever in Washington D.C. and I loved it. And then I actually went there for the inauguration in 2009, which was obviously a really great time, even though it was so crazy. There was a bunch of people there. It was just really hectic, but I really like the city. I think it's like the right size. Like I feel like I can see myself living there because it's like a right size. It's not too big, not too small for me to really live there for real. And I think Richmond, Virginia is just the cutest city in the world. And the first time I went there and I saw Virginia Commonwealth University, I just became obsessed with that school. Like that was my goal school. I just wanted to go there so bad. I just thought the buildings were so cute because it kind of reminds me of Wayne State, which is in Detroit, where a lot of the buildings, I mean, obviously the academic buildings are like big buildings, but some of the buildings, like the department buildings, excuse me, are just like old houses. Like I just think that is so interesting. But I obviously don't go there because of out-of-state tuition was really killer on that. But I don't know. I just thought it's a really beautiful area, and I think that's where I want to end up living. Also on that coast, I've been to Atlanta a couple of times. Um, Most recently on my alternative spring break trip last year when I was working with refugees. And then I've been to Philly twice. I didn't really get a chance to like hang out in Philly though because I was with my mom and we were doing family stuff and we just spent like a couple of days just like visiting. Because I have family who lives in Chester, Pennsylvania, so we try to go and hang out with them occasionally, but we don't really, I don't know, they're kind of out of the way. And then my mother's family lives in North Carolina, so I've been in North Carolina for like hundreds of times. I'm trying to think. A lot of my mom's family lives in Marion. One of my aunts lives in South Carolina, but my mother's originally from Old Fort, North Carolina. Got some family in Cary, family in Raleigh, family in what's the other city? Asheville. And I actually want to go to UNC Asheville for a while too. I could just be all over. And then kind of more in the Midwest, I've been to Cedar Point 100 times. And I've been to Chicago a couple times. Most recently to go visit my best friend who lives out there. That was really fun. And then kind of up farther out, I've been in New York City a couple times. Well, twice, so a couple of times. Once in high school with my theater choir people, and then sophomore year with my alternative spring break trip, and we were dealing with LGBT awareness and LGBT rights, and that was a really great trip. So yeah, I think that's it. Okay, and then the second part of the question asks, where do you want to travel? And I think right now my biggest thing is that I want to go west because I've never been out west before, and I feel like I always go to the East Coast and down south, but I never go west. I've only been to California once, and that was like when I was on my way to Mexico. I didn't really get to stop there. I think California would be really fun. I think Oregon would be really fun. Washington State. I think those would be really cool places to visit. Just because it would just be so new to me. I think seeing the Grand Canyon would be cool. I mean, I've heard it's really underwhelming, but I don't know. I think it would be really beautiful. And as far as outside of the United States, my biggest goal is that I would like to go to Thailand, even though I'm really scared that I'll get kidnapped and sold into some kind of drug thing. But, and Nigeria or Ghana would be really interesting. And back to Spain, because I love it. And I don't know, probably Costa Rica if I ever got my life, my Spanish, and my money together. So I guess that's all for today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.